Hiya, I'm Jasper, and welcome to your video review for Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse. So, as always, I'm going to give you the good, the bad, and the furry. To start off the furry, do you remember how in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, spoiler alert for that movie, there was the Porky the Pig type of Spider-Man? I'm not going to mention any furry. I'm just going to leave it at that. Moving on. So, the first thing I think you need to know about this movie is that much like Fast 10, or Fast X, whatever you want to call it, it is part one of at least a two-parter. So, or like Dune. At least with Dune, there's like, you know what's coming. Well, if you've read the book. Anyway, but yeah, long story short, this movie cuts off, I don't want to say right in the middle. I mean, clearly they have enough for another movie, so maybe it is right in the middle, but there is no ending. You know how Fast X ends on kind of a cliffhanger? This one doesn't end on as much of a cliffhanger, but they did not solve anything. So just prepare yourself for that. Yeah, I assume they're going to make enough money on this movie to make the next one, but man, can you imagine if they didn't? So, anywho, so that's the bad, in my opinion, is that we have to wait for the conclusion. But the good is, if you liked how awesome Part 1's animation, Into the Spider-Verse's animation was, you will really like this animation, I think. What I will say, and I don't really feel like this is spoiler, but, I mean, you saw how in Into the Spider-Verse, there was it had a stylization, and you got to see a couple of the spider people from other universes. Well, in this one, you get to see other spider people from other universes, but you also get to see in their universe for a little bit longer. So right off the bat, it opens with Spider-Gwen's universe, and it was almost a little off-putting just how dramatic the the coloration and the detail level in the camera, between camera angles. And it's not oh, hey, this camera angle is going to be blue and this camera angle is going to be red, but just they added feeling behind each color change, and even some of them were done in camera, but in a single shot. But it was so visually interesting that sometimes that was what drew my attention more than whatever Gwen or whoever else from that universe was doing on screen. So I don't know if that's good or bad. I think to me it's just a little bit bad because I want to pay attention to the story more than the visualization, but I do like the visualization. So yeah, and if you remember from Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness and Everything Everywhere All at Once, how they go through some universes where there's just some crazy differences in body makeup and everything else. They do a little bit of that here, but with a spider feel to it. And overall, I really enjoyed the movie. I really like the second one, or the first one. And in the first one, I felt like they had kind of gone to 11 when they included the Porky the Pig Spider-Man and some of the other, they definitely had some really out there versions of Spider-Man. And so I felt like they had gone to 11. What I will say is, in comparison to how they are in the Spider-Verse, that was a 4. And here I felt like they went to 11. So just, yeah, I think that they did a really good job of expanding things and giving you more visual eye candy, having a whole bunch of other Spider-Man references. I've never read the comics, but I've seen several movies and a couple of the animated shows. So yeah, it was fun to be able to understand some of the references and Easter eggs and all that sort of thing going on, as well as just a whole bunch of things that I was just oh, that's visually interesting. Oh, that's kind of cool. Oh, that's neat. So all that jazz going on. Yeah, I think that this movie is probably worth getting on the big screen. I was a little disappointed that they had a couple of political messaging things in there that they didn't need to, especially because none of the realities that they showed were supposed to be like ours, that had all the whatever political nonsense going on. So I felt that the inclusion of that, not a huge piece, but a noticeable, a prominently placed piece a couple of times. I felt like that wasn't needed, didn't add anything, and was just there to really just divide people. So was not happy with that, but what didn't play a big part, and hopefully, even though I've just drawn your attention to it, hopefully you don't notice it. But yeah, that's it's definitely worth your time. Fun visuals, fun story, and yeah, just great. It just cuts off before solving anything. So that's all I have for this one. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you the next one. Bye.